Hello, I'm Doug McKenzie and welcome to the Fintech Show. This week's episode is an AI special, which sees us teaming up with 3 guests who are keen to share their insights around the ways artificial intelligence can help reconcile massive amounts of data. Straight off the bat, SmartStream should be a name familiar to our long-term watchers. Their product, SmartStream Air, uses AI to verify the accuracy and consistency of huge volumes of data. So it's no surprise that they're so successful in the fintech industry. I was lucky enough to speak with product manager Roberta Bill and to find out how SmartStream Technologies intend to continue this stellar service into 2024 and beyond. Over at the Singapore Fintech Festival and at the end of last year, I had the opportunity to sit down with HSBC's Chief Digital Officer, Shayan Hazir. We talked about reconciliation and the ways an industry behemoth like HSBC can stay relevant in a digital future. Last but not least, Rana Bhattacharya, Chief Information and Digital Officer over at Cynergy Bank, let us in on the latest where their AI efforts are concerned. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of the Fintech Show. Roberta, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. Thanks so much for having me.
It's such a pleasure. Now, Roberta, could you tell us a bit more about your role at SmartStream Technologies and also SmartStream Technologies themselves?
So I'm a product manager here in SmartStream. I work specifically with our Air product, so that's our SmartStream AI reconciliation solution. We came out the AI gate around 2019.
Wow.
So I think it's coming up to 5 years now. We work tirelessly with our great innovations team who are in our innovations lab, who keep us ahead of the curve, keep us up to date with all of the artificial intelligence updates and where we need to be.
Now, AI is truly the talk of the town, but I'm really intrigued to kind of get your insights into what you think are some of the biggest trends when it comes to artificial intelligence in finance.
I think with AI, it's using it in industries to make processes more efficient, being able to pick up on patterns and stay ahead of the game. When you're able to see what's coming up and able to use AI to make your processes more efficient, it's going to increase your financial gains, it's going to reduce errors and risks, and just overall boost efficiency. So in many banking sectors and industries, you have really manually heavy work. Yeah. So like data validation, manual data entry. Now this takes hours, it's a lot of manpower that goes into it. So when you use AI, it's a lot of relief on the system when you automate things like data validation and data entry. So you kind of use SmartStream Air as like a really handy co-pilot to get you through those day-to-day duties, which usually take hours, and then you can do in minutes.
Now we're seeing various different rails, various different technologies, payments, microtransactions. With that volume of payments, how can artificial intelligence then be used to increase reconciliation on the payment side and improve efficiency?
We've got to look at things as a confluence of all technologies coming together and designing a hyper-personalized consumer experience. Yeah. And so, what happens is typically we start looking at individual technologies like blockchain or AI or quantum computing and look at them independently and try to find use cases in silos. Well, actually, we should be working towards the best customer experience we can think of and work back to the technology. And I think in my mind, while it is, yes, absolutely, we can take up current payment volumes and say we can put AI assessments on that and we can make it more potent and safer, and we will do that. But I think the question really is what happens when in 2030 you walk into a grocery store and you are environmentally conscious, you want to know the carbon footprint of your product, you want to know product traceability, what's the supply chain, and you want live data to be fed up to the company CFO in real time. And that's the kind of future that we should be designing and working towards and building components that get us there rather than trying to build components to the technology. First the experience, then the technology, not the technology.
Not innovation for innovation's sake.
Yeah, exactly.
But do you look at HSBC to kind of also work with tech partners as well as build things in-house? Because I know you are an esteemed organization, an institution, but do you look at operating in this kind of ecosystem too?
We're actually a 150-year-old organization, so I always see our roles as being stewards for a short period of time, and then we pass on that legacy to somebody else to take forward. And so in my mind, in the world that we live in, collaboration and partnerships is going to be the way we move forward.
Yes.
And we are sitting there not only with other banks, but we're also sitting with technology companies and with fintechs. So we realize that we've got a whiteboard solutions now for this, future that we're all trying to define together.
Yeah.
And so whether that's going to be fintechs or technology companies or other banks as collaboration, we have to be absolutely open to that, and HSBC is fundamentally open to that as being the way forward for us. There's things that we're doing today that can be made more efficient.
Yeah.
Check. There are things that we can optimize and make them better. Second. But there's shaping the future. And so the shape of the future might look completely different from what we have today as an experience. So let's say you're a mortgage.
Yeah.
The multi-party, multi-pronged, time-consuming process. If I were to look at blockchain and AI, I can solve that problem into a matter of hours, even a few minutes, if we can get that assessment correct. And so in my mind, we need to think about what experience we want to provide our customers. And there's tons of inefficiencies in an old traditional financial system, which is now being rewired because we have the capability to make it more efficient. So I think we start with the use cases first in terms of saying, where are the biggest inefficiencies? And then we're going to try to find the technology or the fintech or the partner that's going to help us build that experience now, because I think that's the mindset with which, at least from HSBC's standpoint, we're pushing that agenda.
So Cynergy Bank is a bank that's really focused on property, business finance, and private banking. So I would kind of introduce the bank as we genuinely care about customers, and we don't necessarily use a computer to say whether or not we're going to take a deal or not. We look at the deal on its own merits, and we understand our customers, and we look to construct a mechanism of lending for a customer that works for them as well as the bank. And so we don't need a typical high street lending. We look at more complex lending, and we try and turn that around very quickly for our customers. For Cynergy, we kind of coin ourselves as we want to become the human digital bank. And as part of that, we want to be data driven, we want to be efficient. In terms of AI in that space, it is very much aligned, and we want to kind of automate where we can. We want to kind of sweat our investments in terms of allowing us to focus on the customers, in terms of giving them the right insights, giving them the right opportunities, as well as from the bank perspective, enhancing our capabilities and productivity. So therefore, we could, our colleagues in the bank can really focus on the high value items whilst using tools like AI to remove the minutiae of laborious administrative activities that people might have to do. You could automate a reconciliation process without AI, but I think the element of AI is, I think on top of that sort of process will be ability to kind of at a fine-grained level understand where the issues are and deal with those issues, because typically within any kind of reconciliation process you kind of find anomalies, and then you have to deal with those anomalies. So if you've got AI support to deal with those anomalies, I can imagine you could get some efficiencies in dealing with that process.
Now, looking at the compliance side for financial institutions, how can artificial intelligence, even SmartStream's AIR, be deployed to improve their regulatory compliance standards?
Well, with AIR, we actually have it used with quite a few clients who do have in-house complex governance and compliance policies at the minute. So they use the AIR AI to help automate their reporting, being able to bring up breaks and exceptions as quick as possible so they can bring in and rectify the situation. This then mitigates the manual kind of end user applications, things like macros and Excels, so then they can use AIR as their core framework going forward for their daily duties.
Are there any specific regulations such as MiFID II that SmartStream AIR can be deployed to improve regulatory compliance for the financial institutions?
Completely. So we have clients that are using the SmartStream AIR reconciliations for MiFID II.
Oh, right.
And they're using it for their transactional reporting. They're using it for their TOTVs and to make the reporting more accurate and more timely within their processes. So it's making sure they're using it within day-to-day functions, making sure they're using it correctly to get the best out of it. if you're putting it into a system, you want to make sure it's giving you the results it needs. You need to give it the time to learn your patterns, learn how you work, and help you automate those processes which are drilling into the days of your employees. I do think there is still quite a big dependency on human intervention. There's some things that we don't always know, like how our customers have been for years, and AI can't always pick up on those things. I think human intervention is needed to an extent with things like 2-hour checks.
That's unfortunately all we have time for in today's episode of the Fintech Show. You can catch the rest of the series and the full-length interviews of our guests over at ffnews.com. I'll say a massive thank you to you, our viewers, as well, and we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.